Howdy, my name is Maria Pope, and my species is the Aphis glycines, otherwise known as the soybean aphid.
Hi, I'm Emily Wood, and I'm defending the Melanaphis saccari, also known as the sugarcane aphid, and our debate is about which pests cause more damage and loss in agriculture.
Yes. Hi, it's me again. So, like I said, my species is the Aphis glycines, otherwise known as the soybean aphid. The Aphis glycines belongs to the Aphididae family, which is a very large insect family, in the aphid superfamily, in the order of the Hemiptera. Several thousand species are placed in this family, many of which are known for being serious plant pests, such as the soybean aphid. Just some biological facts about the soybean aphid. It's small, it's less than 1/16 of an inch, and it has black cornicles, and these insects can be either winged or wingless. They also reproduce asexually, and in the spring and the summer they only produce females, and during the early summer and late fall the population will finally produce winged males with special winged females called gynoperae. These aphids move to their overwintering host, the buckhorn, where mating occurs and at least one generation occurs. And soybean aphids actually can produce up to 12 generations a year. That's incredible. Now, as far as damage to agriculture, these aphids, they attach to plants and they use their sucking mouth parts to remove nutrients and water from plants. They also inhibit photosynthesis because of the honeydew residue that they leave on the plant, which can reduce yields by up to 40%, which is a pretty large number. Their eggs are also very well adapted to surviving cold winters, and if you have a large infestation of soybean aphids, there might not be any ability to use insecticide, whereas if you catch it when it's a lower population, you might be able to use insecticide to protect your crops.
Okay, hi, it's me again. Like I said earlier, my species is the Melanaphis saccari, which is more commonly known as the sugarcane aphid. And a little bit of background on this insect: it's a part of the Aphididae family in the order Hemiptera, also known as true bugs, and these insects feed on plants, and then some can be parasitic. And these insects are located in tropical to subtropical areas, and they're believed to have originated from Africa and the Middle East, but currently they're located in the United States, like Florida, Hawaii, Louisiana, Mississippi, Oklahoma, and Texas. And they're very small, soft-bodied, and wingless insects, and they're pale yellow to white in their coloring. They also reproduce asexually, and this results in females being able to give birth 1 to 3 times a day. This is detrimental because their population is growing very exponentially and just continues to increase. And this insect is considered a minor pest on several crops, but in recent years its status as a pest on the sorghum and sugarcane specifically has greatly increased, and this is due to the fact that this insect does need a living host to be able to persist. And what the sugarcane aphid does is it removes the xylem tissues, which causes stunted growth and chlorosis, which is the loss of chlorophyll. This is really bad for the crops because without the ability to grow and without the ability to nourish itself, these crops continue to die off. They're also a vector of sugarcane yellowleaf disease, and that results in the changing of the colors and has similar effect to the loss of xylem tissue and the chlorosis. And in Brazil alone, this averages a 25% loss of sugarcane and sorghum. And economically, in 2014 to 2015 year, it was seen that the impact on crops was over $31 million.
So Emily, since we're answering the question which is more damaging to agriculture, I was wondering, does your species, the cane sugar aphid, does it just damage the crops or does it truly kill the crops?
Wow, Maria, that's a great question. So you asked me if they just damage the crops or if they actually kill off the crops, but what the sugarcane aphid does, like I said earlier with the chlorosis, it makes it so that the plant can't survive. If a plant doesn't have the ability to nourish itself, then it can't continue to grow. So it doesn't straight up kill the plant, but it does make it so that it can't replenish the nourishment that it has lost. And they continue to do this just because the population is increasing so dramatically. And also with the spread of the disease, that does end up killing the plant. So while it doesn't like straight up kill it, just like destroying it, it does make it so that it can't live.
Okay, Emily, great question. So the soybean aphid does have a pretty large effect on the economics of agriculture. If we look at the soybean crop itself, it's actually a huge export for the United States. 1/4 of the soybeans grown in America are actually exported to China, which is one of our major partners in the international market, as well as 1/2 of the soybeans, or the international market is half of the international market for soybeans are from the United States. Sorry. And something important to remember when we look at the agriculture itself and the plants is the economic threshold, and the economic threshold is gauged during the growth stages, and it's currently established at 250 aphids per plant if populations are increasing. And if this threshold is reached, you need to treat them within 7 days in order to prevent them from reaching the economic injury level, which is where the yield loss would exceed the cost of treatment. So you really need to consider when you're looking at your fields your cost and benefit analysis. I have another question. What's the correlation between the insect population and the damage to these cane sugar plants?
Great question, Maria. So like I said earlier, the sugarcane aphid does reproduce asexually, so it does have a great population increase. And since this is a new pest to the sugarcane and the sorghum, the more population, the worse effect it's going to have, especially with the spread of this insect. It has been recently introduced to the U.S. and it's already in a majority of the southern states. So if the population continues to increase, the sugarcane aphid could migrate to different states and then affect their agriculture as well. But the states that is in, such as Florida, they are a big agriculture state, especially with fruits. And so the effect that it has is if the population continues to grow, there will be more sugarcane aphids kind of affecting the growth of the plants, and then the yields will continue to be greater. Okay, Maria, your pest has been more established for a longer period of time than mine, so I'm just wondering what research has been done to eliminate this problem.
So, Emily, you asked about the research that's been done in trying to get rid of or manage the pests such as soybean aphids. And unfortunately, there has been lots of research done, but unfortunately the best techniques that we've come up with as of now just are managing and using insecticides in order to help control these insects. But how we do that is we have to be aware of the interaction of aphids with climatic conditions and natural predators. So carefully scouting is absolutely necessary to determine if treatment is needed and at the time to use insecticide treatments to maximize their effectiveness. Because soybean aphids tend to develop most quickly on vegetative stage soybeans, and their development slows on flowering and reproductive stage soybeans. The recommended time to begin scouting is when soybeans are in their late vegetative stage, usually between June and early July, and growers should continue to watch their pre-flower and flowering stages to treat aphids before they reach the economic threshold, which will result in economic injury if they wait too long. Okay, so in conclusion, I believe that the soybean aphid is most detrimental to agriculture. The soybean aphid can reduce yields by up to 40%, and as stated earlier, this soybean product is a huge part of our economic system and is completely vital to everything that we do here, especially farming in the United States. Due to their rapid reproduction, because they produce asexually, they're able to totally infest a crop harvest in a matter of weeks and even days, and this is severely damaging to the farmers' yields. Additionally, the research and solutions to managing these pests are not very well developed. There's very few solutions, mainly scouting and using insecticides. But because the populations reproduce so quickly, it's very hard to stop the insects from reproducing before they reach the economic injury level.
Okay, in conclusion, I believe that the sugarcane aphid is more detrimental to agriculture and results in more agricultural losses, mainly because they are a relatively new pest, but they are one that is rapidly growing. Since they do also reproduce asexually, they are increasing exponentially and just constantly reproducing, which allows them to infest more sorghum and sugarcane. And they are a pest that infest two plants rather than just one. So that can have more of an impact on agriculture. And with the current impact this insect has on agriculture, since it is relatively new, one can assume that due to the population growth, this impact will increase in the upcoming years. And currently there is research being done to better understand how the sugarcane aphid affects the sorghum and the sugarcane and how to eliminate that. But this is in its early stages, and by the time that enough research is developed to eliminate this pest, the problem will be greater.